Hey, what's up guys? Rev here. So today we have another round of drama involving Guilty Gear Strive, and yes, it involves another debate about a playable character from that franchise being trans or not. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware of the Bridget trans debate that has consumed places like Twitter over the past year or so, and it's my belief that if you mentally survived that arc, you deserve a veteran's discount anywhere you go because that debate was some of the most headache-inducing stuff you will ever see. And today we're returning because there is another debate where people on Twitter are claiming that a new playable character for Guilty Gear Strive is in fact trans. Now, their evidence for this is, well, mostly headcanon in exploiting bot systems on Twitter, but we'll get into that soon enough. Now, here is the character in question. So this has been a character that's a part of the franchise for many years, but it has been leaked and later confirmed that Elphelt Valentine will be a playable character in Guilty Gear Strive for Season 3. Now, this is a very strange story, and anything mentioning this character by name on Twitter is met with bot responses like this, and we will get into these later, but yes, you can see that if you mention this character by name, you'll be spammed by bots claiming that Elphelt is trans. Now, before we get into the tweets talking about this sort of debate, let's talk about how this information was first revealed because it's wild, okay? So it actually turns out that the whole character itself, that Elphelt being a playable character, was a leak that was later confirmed. Now, who leaked this? Was it a random Twitter user? No, it was actually the Tekken director, Harada, who inadvertently provided a link in one of his tweets that gave away this upcoming release of Elphelt as a playable character in Guilty Gear Strive. This was definitely not something that was intentional. This happened on December 7th, and as you can see, if you clicked on that link, you can see these same images that we've been seeing, revealing this character as a playable character in Guilty Gear Strive, and all of the dates that were contained within that set of information use the date December 8th as the day that was supposed to be revealed at the Game Awards. And of course, that's only a day before the actual intended release, but it was very obvious that this was not an intended situation, and Harada accidentally leaked this a day earlier. And of course, that's not even his game. He is the director of Tekken. And also keep in mind that they both work under Namco Bandai, but nonetheless, it's not his game. So this is a very odd situation for Harada to be the one who leaked this, but nonetheless, seeing this leak led to a lot of, let's just say, theorizing on the behalf of Twitter users. So we're going to start with this set of tweets right here. This person claiming that the character Elphelt is trans because this image right here, where they are quoting this original tweet saying that Elfie and Bridget literally make the trans flag when they're together. You can see the two characters here combining to make the trans flag, which confirms that not only Bridget, but also Elphelt is trans as well. Now, we've talked about this idea of using color schemes to confirm the identity of a character being some of the worst logic ever that always backfires, by the way. And we're going to see another example of that. You can pause and maybe write your answer in the comment, but what do you think is going to be the most liked reply to this tweet that is trying to claim that color schemes will identify a character? Let's take a look. Okay, I might have to censor this flag in the video, but it is a flag with a black, white, and red color scheme. And people, of course, are applying the logic that the original poster did to satirize their logic and to make fun of it. And people will see this. I had this happen with the whole debate involving Gwen from Spider-Man, where people are claiming she was trans. And they will see this and they'll think that I am somehow acknowledging and accepting this logic of using color schemes to confirm some sort of a identity or political belief of a character. I'm not. And people like this are not confirming it. They're making fun of it by applying the original poster's logic to something else that makes them look stupid. But nonetheless, we need to look at some other tweets, and we're actually going to shift over to DNF Duel, which is another game that's popular in the fighting games community, where somehow this tweet's going to lead us back into Elphelt, and you'll see how it unfolds. But basically, you have a informational tweet saying some things here, and unfortunately used a set of words that left some Twitter users trying to make some jokes where they said, here's a sneak peek at the power of chasers. Now, you would see tons of replies on that tweet saying the power of what? And they're referring to the term chaser, which is a term that loosely means it's a person who identifies primarily as straight, but tries to fetishize a lot of trans women while still remaining in the closet themselves. And people were trying to make jokes out of the use of the word chaser in that tweet, where you had someone from the fighting games community, like Luna here, making this quote retweet saying, "Fighting game community so terminally unfunny, they can't even see the word chase without gargling at the mouth." And yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty fair response since that's what all of the replies to the original tweet were about. But down below, responding to one of the replies to their tweet, Luna would say this: "It's not really a big deal. I'm just sick of it. Last week it was advertising pet play. This week it's how Hatashi is a transphobe and why Elphelt is secretly a trans girl. It's so effing stupid." Now, unfortunately for Luna, they activated a triggering word here, which is, of course, Elphelt. Because anytime you type this on Twitter, there's a chance that you'll be swarmed with bots. Here's just a small sample of the replies to that latest reply by Luna. And it is the same message over and over again by random first name, last names with female profile pictures containing the same message. There's dozens of these, and they all say the same thing, saying, "Elphelt is trans. Cry about it, MAGA. Hashtag Elphelt Nation. Hashtag Bridget Brigade." Now, of course, I think they're referring MAGA as Make America Great Again, so they're basically claiming that if you mention this character or don't confirm that it's trans, you're somehow a Trump supporter or conservative, which is very interesting to see how someone can be labeled that based on their view of a video game character. But nonetheless, this is the set of bot replies that we're seeing. Very suspicious set of replies. These are obviously bot accounts. It's not much of a secret. And again, this all was stemming from a DNF duel quote retweet. But nonetheless, you would see the same type of bot response word for word, bar for bar, popping up on many different tweets that mentioned the name Elphelt. Just like this informational tweet that doesn't even talk about the character being trans, and yet they're met with this aggressive bot response here, claiming that Elphelt is trans, cry about it. And if we move forward, there's another tweet that'll be important for the next couple minutes in this video. So there's a discussion about the design of these characters, and this account right here is quoting them, saying that the franchise is dead, gaming-wise, referring to Guilty Gear, and that it's become much more of a business, and the look of the game is much more important than the actual gameplay, and pandering to people on places like Twitter is more important than the actual gameplay and the story and things like that. And this user would make this abomination of a quote saying Guilty Gear Strive is dead at 7,000 players. Cry about it. The trans game stays winning. Now, it's amazing how in only 2 sentences they can say so many things that are, well, worth talking about in all the wrong ways, right? So number one, saying that Guilty Gear Strive, and really the Guilty Gear franchise, is the trans game is very reductive, okay? The fact that there is what you believe one trans character in this franchise, all of a sudden, the franchise and Guilty Gear Strive all of a sudden is just boiled down to the trans game. That's it. There's no other identity outside of that. That's pretty bizarre to say, right? It's reducing the entire game to the identity of one character. It's a weird way of looking at the game, and it really tells me you're probably not a fan of the actual game and franchise itself. But also this claim that there are 7,000 active players playing Guilty Gear Strive at any given moment is, well, false. And that would be challenged by this community note. Now, I've said over and over again, the community note feature on Twitter is one of the greatest things ever, but even this is not immune from being tampered with. Basically, community notes is a system where people can vote on a corrective note on a tweet, and it gets confirmed or released or even removed based on public voting. And that is not immune from bots, by the way, which is important because this would pop up for a brief time, go away, get confirmed again, get removed again, and it would say Guilty Gear Strive has averaged around 2,300 concurrent players in the last month and slowly declining according to Steam charts. Now, if you actually look at it, this will be confirmed, but this community note would go up, down, and it's pretty clear that people are tampering with this note because it contains information that doesn't confirm that 7,000 player count that previous user is trying to push on other people. But here's the actual data. You don't have to make any assumptions. Here it is. Every month from January all the way up until now, you can see the average player count. And it is fluctuated from everything between 1,400 players to about 3,500 players. And you can see as we get higher up the chart, it's getting closer in time to where we are now, the count is dropping steadily. In fact, in November, it was at its lowest mark in over a year at 1,400. That is far short of the 7,000 that tweet was claiming, and yet so many people accepted it as a fact because they're insecure about this game losing popularity over time. And, one thing I wanted to do with this tweet is look at some of the quotes, because I think some of the quotes really sum up a lot of the frustration and thoughts that people have about this entire debate, not just about Bridget, but also Elphelt and the public perception of Guilty Gear Strive on Twitter. So this user says, "It's sad that this is all this character has been reduced to. Seriously, whenever I go and find this character, this is all they bring up about him, not his gameplay, his moveset, or his design, or story, or anything else. Just this meaningless crap. It says it all." The trans game, in quotes, talk about a reduction of years of storytelling and cool fighting game mechanics boiled down to one character. If my life's work was reduced to the black story, I would shoot myself. This user saying calling GG the trans game without mentioning any of the other LGBT characters is insane. Another user saying, imagine being a fan of this series for multiple decades and seeing this. Yeah, you'd be pretty confused if you were a person consuming Guilty Gear 2 decades ago and you woke up from a coma in 2023 and saw the public perception of this game. You would be wildly confused as to what's going on with that franchise. But yeah, moving on, here's another one saying in quotes, the trans game. This franchise's image is warped forever, and Elphelt's reception is a perfect example of that. Calling GGS the trans game is so stupid when there's only one trans character and a lot more LGBTQ plus rep in it. Has anyone talked about this game like a normal human being? No, they have not. There's never been a normal discussion about this game in at least a year at this point, okay? The dysfunction on Twitter surrounding this game is crazy. There's still Bridget trans debates, people attacking others over it, going both ways on both sides of the debate, by the way. This just never ends. The Bridget debate is crazy, and we're seeing it repeat itself with this Elphelt situation. But I will say that claim that Elphelt is trans is far, far, far looser and less based on anything than what Bridget was, okay? I think we can agree on that. Their only proof of Elphelt is a color scheme when combined with Bridget, and also people spamming bot replies under tweets talking about the character. That's the proof people are going with. Here's another quote saying, funny how the only time these Guilty Gear fans bring up Bridget is that he's trans and that's it. And that's literally all Bridget's character is now, just a tool to get other LGBT to use as a mascot and not as a character. And here's another quote containing some of the bot replies saying, yeah, I can tell the fans love this game, which also calls into question how many of the actual player count from the data is actual players and not things being botted, because we're seeing things being botted all across the board, whether it's tweets or other things. Clearly, people are using bot systems to inflate numbers to push narratives like Elphelt being trans, for example. And I wanted to point out one other thing before we conclude this video. Basically, any tweet that speaks about Elphelt positively or mentions some sort of a claim that they're trans and trying to confirm that claim, the likes on those tweets skyrocket. They go through the roof. And I think this tweet, just casually showing Elphelt here, is good proof of something not being right. Okay, so this tweet from an account with around 200 followers randomly gets 14,000 likes, almost 500,000 views, but only 43 replies. If you don't know how Twitter works with that sort of a ratio of views, likes, and replies, that doesn't add up. That is a very low number of replies, and a lot of the replies have no interaction, and that was pointed out by users like this, saying this post has X amount of likes, but only 20 replies at that time, and none of the replies have more than 40 likes. Every post about Elphelt on this platform performs similarly. Regular ratios on Twitter do not ever mirror this activity. The botting for Japanese Disney is unbelievably obvious, and I think botting has been the theme of today's video. Botting left and right, whether it's supporting tweets like this or botting replies to attack people and to spread a certain narrative, that has been the theme surrounding this character Elphelt, and it's sad to see Guilty Gear Strive once again only being talked about because of Twitter trying to claim a character as trans, and in this case, it is a very wild assumption to make when there is virtually nothing to suggest that that character is. And of course, someone's going to screenshot this video and go to Twitter and say that I'm transphobic or something like they always do. I have no problem with trans characters existing in games. In fact, I think that's a good thing to have more trans characters. You know, people enjoy that, great. But trying to force a character to be a certain way based on your headcanon because you want to stick it to people, the chuds on Twitter or something like that, it's embarrassing. Go make original characters instead of trying to force existing ones to fit your headcanon because it makes you feel powerful on social media. It's a very bizarre thing. But yeah, I know that was a lot today, but there was a lot to cover in this very bizarre set of drama, so I appreciate you guys listening to the video. Please feel free to share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.